Ṣẹ̀kẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ bá jó, ṣẹ̀kẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ bá jó, olúwa mi ò dìde ojú ṣẹ̀kẹ̀rẹ̀.
Welcome everyone to Theoryforge Chronicles, episode 14. Welcome home. We've been gone for, over a month, I think. Our last show was after the first map voting, and we actually, just due to a series of a lot of different things, haven't been able to come on since then. So, we are back. How's everybody doing?
Pretty good.
So, I guess, yeah, since our last show, map voting is done. Server selection is done. They've added a special sale, and we're kind of moving on into the new year. So I guess quite a bit of stuff to talk about. I guess we can just sort of start with the map voting, because I think that's probably the biggest thing that we've... Yes?
Oh, and one other one. Royalty sales. The mayor, magistrate, and governor pledge packages. They're gone at the end of the year. Last chance.
Yes, you stole my thunder. We were going to get into some of the sales to just kind of go over all of it. But yeah, we will get to that. So maps. I do not have the maps loaded into our system here like I did the last time, but at this point everybody knows anyways. So any thoughts about the maps? Mine initial thought was everyone chose poorly. I immediately went into the Indiana Jones Last Crusade, saw the man shrivel up and get thrown into the wall. Just my opinion. Probably doesn't matter. What do y'all think?
Nah, I don't care.
Okay, and moving on. I guess it really doesn't ultimately probably matter too much. Everyone's going to have... for me, I guess I've always said that too. I'm going to run a farm no matter what. So, I mean, the overall map doesn't really matter too much.
Yeah. There's definitely worse maps that everyone could have ended up with. I'll say that. And worse is relative, because it's one of those things that, like, the nature of the game, technically nothing's a bad map, and it's really all just a Hobson's choice. Like, it doesn't really matter.
Well, yeah, I guess it will matter more to the people who run the larger kingdoms and just trying to manage how you live within the world. To the individual person,
When it's really going to matter is 2-3 years down the road, when they're like, all right, everyone that missed out on the first release, that's fine. We're going to do new vanilla spin-up servers in all 3 regions.
$10,000 and you can join. Or here's a new world. You just discovered it. Now you get to go through the process again.
Exactly. I mean, it's a smart idea, because once one world ends at the 10-year deadline or whatever, I mean, you're going to have servers staggered. Otherwise, everybody all comes to the end at once. That's going to kind of kill the momentum.
Yeah. I don't know. The maps are just, I'm going to actually, I know everybody's probably looked at these. I'm going to pop them into chat, just the links. But I don't know. As I've always said, I don't know. I don't like the idea of having just a single choke point to go through every single time. But
Map I is which?
Oh yeah, I should probably go over that, shouldn't I? Let me hold on. Let me finish these links and then I will go over that.
Yeah.
Before I get too far ahead of myself. Oops.
What was interesting is that it appeared there was some amount of people allegedly voting on other servers because their server was already locked down and they just wanted to screw with other people.
I mean, that can happen. Actually, that was something I was wanting to talk about a little too, is the fact that we did server selection after we did map voting, which is kind of an interesting order. All right, so let me just, I guess, real quickly, in case anyone doesn't know. So Angelica is map I. Luna is map N, Celine is map B, and then, of course, map 7 belongs to Oceanus. But I guess back to, what I was saying. Yeah, I mean, You saw, I think you saw that, at least in the end of the first map voting, because I had actual access to the numbers there. You could see sort of a lot of flip-flopping new votes from somewhere, while other servers lost votes. So clearly there was some angling of trying to get certain land masses.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
First round, that mattered more. Second round, if you're voting on the server you're not playing on, you're just being a jerk.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and that's right. Second round doesn't really matter. You all have your 5 maps to choose from anyways. But there definitely was some of that in the first, so I assume there was some in the second as well. Which is just sort of interesting to me. I was thinking about that today. Being totally transparent, I have been super busy at work for the last 4 weeks, so I have not done much reading of any kind.
Yes, you have. That's why we haven't done as many shows.
That is true. I have not been able to do them. Today was just as terrible. But anyways, as I was reading through the sort of November wrap-up, that sort of came, why we did server selection after we picked the maps. It seems like you would be able to protect yourself a little bit more. I don't know. This seems like an interesting order. Like, if you really wanted people truly voting on the map they're going to play on, you should probably lock them into their server first. But
that's a difficult thing to ask of people, though, because then you're asking them to commit, and you don't really know if you're in, like, the middle of the country, or if you play on the East Coast, but your guild's on the West Coast, and you're not sure if they're going to jump in. There's a lot of people I don't think that are even going to know until, like, the first month after launch what server they're truly going to play on. So I suppose it's nice to keep it flexible, that you don't just commit people. But at the same time, I believe if you're expressing a certain level of influence, if you're nobility or royalty on a certain server and you're expected to be voting there, then that should nullify your ability to vote on the other ones, unless you've got royalty on 2 servers.
Yeah. I mean, because that's where the influence comes, is from the people with large amounts to vote with. But
yeah, mostly.
Just sort of an interesting order. At this point, I think everyone who follows us know we're all on Angelica, so we're on NA West, even though I'm actually in the middle of the country. But
that's the thing. It seems like people are, there's so many people who are already affiliated with a region or a community or a barony or a kingdom or whatever. So they're going to follow along with their community, it seems like, although maybe not. Well, I think that's kind of what we learned with the map voting. It seemed like people knew in advance where the kingdom was supposed to go, but then some people were like, hey.
Well, they all had their preferences. There was definitely a lot of chatter. I mean, we went over at the end, at least of the first. I wish I had. That's honestly part of why I lost interest in the second round, is I couldn't see the actual real-time data. I don't know. People definitely already knew what they wanted, and it sounds like for the most part the servers got what they wanted, the majority, anyways, which is how it should be. I don't know. I think they're all terrible maps, personally, but whatever.
I don't know how good or bad they are until the game actually is playable. Yeah, until then, it really won't matter. And it might be that on the outside, region by region, something might look good or, bad. But in the minutia, the micro scale of every 1 by 1 kilometer unit, it actually doesn't really matter whatsoever. So, it might be that it's just like perception of the macro scale.
Yeah. I mean, you're probably right. I mean, most likely if we had never have been given this chance and these were the maps we were just given, nobody would have thought anything different about it.
Right.
Nobody would have probably said a whole lot.
Well, somebody actually would have complained. It's like, no, I want to play on this server. I want this map, not that map. Come on, why didn't we get a vote?
Me? No, I wouldn't.
Well, yeah.
I wouldn't have complained about voting. I would have complained about the map. But
if all we saw were 5 maps, if that, but Kinitsu is saying that Kairos on Luna voted for NAW Map H because they wanted to help out some other people who had helped them previously, and they figured that Map N was already locked in on Luna. So At least that was for good reasons.
At least you're honest.
That's
I don't. I don't know.
Cross-server alliances.
Hey, that fallback theory that we all actually exist on the same world that doesn't actually exist, but I don't know. It is what it is. Ultimately, like you said, probably a year into the game, nobody's going to remember nor care how the process went. We all know within the first month everything's going to hell anyways, so who really cares?
Yeah, exposition, everything's just going to be turned on its head to begin with.
Yeah, so server selection seemed to go pretty smooth. I don't know if I didn't have any problem with it. I assume you guys actually did select your servers.
Yeah.
Diggs, you're looking confused.
So.
You think so? Okay.
I don't remember. It's been a while.
I don't think you are any pressure to do it either, but if you just go on the account page and assign, like, I am actually playing on West server or East server.
Yeah.
And there's no back.
And then I bought EP. I think I went up to 500 EP.
Nice.
I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but it became available, and I was like, what the heck? So I guess that's the next big thing. What are we supposed to do with EP?
Well, when it comes time to spend it, you spend it.
Yeah, EP is specifically for things I've been associated with the start of exposition.
Did you buy something and not even know what it was for?
Yeah.
That's cool.
The developers are going to love you.
They don't already? Come on.
Yeah, it's just for, during the exposition phase. So buying.
That didn't tell me anything. I know it's for exposition, but I don't know what I'm going to
So you use it to purchase various aspects of like infrastructure or NPCs, basically the stuff to actually build out an area. So when something starts an exposition, it's not all of the houses people have built and set down and then empty nothing. So it actually has some amount of, structure and stuff built up to it.
Yes, as it says, as in chat, roads, roads, roads.
So. Yes.
Or farmers, I guess. Okay.
You got to build up the world somehow. Might as well spend real money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll spend EP on NPCs if I can. Sure.
So, that's really all there is with map voting. Everything does seem to be running smoothly after sort of the whole Searing Plague event and the initial problems with it. Some of the things we talked about was the upcoming bigger parts like map voting, server selection, really needed to be kind of nailed down because I think a lot of people were upset initially with Searing Plague. I feel like they've done very well with both rounds of map voting and everything so far. So I guess the next big thing will be, what is the next big thing? Actually looking at where you're going to put your kingdoms, right?
Yeah, I think it's kingdoms vying for which of the 6 on the map they're going to end up with. And I'm not sure how that's going. I think that's, if I'm not mistaken, that's being done in closed doors at the higher levels, that lower tiers don't have any agency in that. I could be mistaken, though. In fact, I might be. If anybody has more up-to-date details, please do share. But
that makes sense. I didn't purchase the amount of money to spend money to be a king, so why should I get a say? So.
Yeah, right. But at the same time, it makes sense that all of the collective influence of all the people that are going to be playing in your kingdom would maybe make more sense to use as the vote rather than who spent money to get a piece of this.
So, yeah, so everything seems to be going well. I did, like you mentioned, the sort of other things that have happened since then. There's not been a lot, but they did have this Black Friday sale. I did not purchase anything, but you said they pulled things out of the vault.
I feel like there was some stuff that they had unvaulted for this one. Like if I remember, the cartographer's tools were in a previous one, and then they'd come back around. Maybe I'm mistaken and they were new to this, but I feel like I had seen them before. Definitely picked them up this time. I think there were some things like, was it like donkeys or horses or something that they had in the past, but because now you can actually get the cart to pull them with, or to have them pull. So I think that was some of it. Is some of the stuff they brought back because it the next part of how you would use it was introduced in the sale. Let me see if I can get the actual list of everything. It might have just been on the store page and they've cleared it. Let's see. Herding dog, stables kit, Vardo wagon. I was curious about getting one of those, but for $45, nah, I'll just use in-game infrastructure and resources for that. There's the guild hall, cartographer's kit, the baker's kit. I'm sure Harold would love one of those. Gaming kit. The returning items, the sailing rowboat, coastal cutter. They had giftable 3,000 EP packs and regular just for yourself. Vintner's kit was back. The songbirds are back. And they had a special round of royalty. They had the courtier and the royal limited packages available. And then there was the last oasis. It was $1,250, by the way, for a legendary quality tavern found in semi-arid desert of your starting continent or island chain. So somewhere in the world, you get to be the person who owns this legendary tavern, which on one hand, I could see someone being like, $1,250 for that? Come on, that's ridiculous. Someone who's really planning to invest their time and effort in that, it's like, oh yeah, I get to run the place where, like, you know, it's a legendary spot on the map. I get to have say in who gets to run quests out of there. Oh yeah, I've got huge influence because I own this place. And that's, if I was looking to spend that kind of money, that's the angle I would look, is like, I get to determine who gets to, you know, run quests and do business in my tavern, in my legendary tavern, and who gets to be, you know, the established folks. So that control of power is actually kind of an interesting sort of thing.
Do you get to run it until somebody steals it from you?
Pretty much. It's yours at the start of exposition, and then where it goes from there.
Right.
I'm sorry, that's still ridiculous. I don't care how much you like the game. $1,200 for something that can be stolen from you?
Yeah.
I just, I don't know.
2 common rooms with seating for 20.
No, but that makes it more exciting. It's, you know, the risk versus reward, you know.
No, it doesn't. Somebody steals $1,200 from you outside of here, they're going to go to the police and arrest them.
That heightens the risk. That's what makes the game exciting.
No, you're going to go throw them in jail and take it back because nobody wants to lose their stuff.
I mean, people can spend a lot more on a vacation they complain about the whole time and feel uncomfortable about. So, like, at least you know what you're getting with this.
I mean, I'd rather have, you know, whatever.
I mean, I'll keep my $1,250 and let someone else buy it, but I'm glad someone had the opportunity and went forward with it. I hope they, you know, each one was bought with someone with intent. They were snatched up quick, too.
When you know, before we started doing this show, I'm not necessarily shy when I think, you know, it makes sense to put into a game. I mean, Crowfall, I kind of made a mistake there, but, you know, invested pretty well into that game. Ashes, even this, but even for me, like $1,250 for a tavern that somebody can burn down just because they don't. Like
I don't think they can just burn it down. I'm pretty sure there's going to be safeguards that prevent that sort of thing. It's a legendary tavern. It's one of 13 legendary structures that exist in the world, or inns and taverns. So, yeah, no, it's not going anywhere. It is protected by divine powers. Whether you get to keep it or not, that's a personal matter.
The structure itself probably is, but I mean, I don't know. It's just crazy.
But yeah, there's seating for 40, stage for performances, large kitchen. They got eight kegs of ale, 4 kegs of mead.
You better have more
which
than 8
doesn't
kegs
seem like
of
it's
ale
gonna
for $1,200.
And 30 bottles of agave spirit. So I'm guessing it's mezcal, not tequila. 6 private rooms, private residence, bedroom and office, accessible via the kitchen, and a small attached stable house for 4 horses. So it's It's a lot, but it's not like it's a gigantic facility. It's it's still quaint. It's not huge.
What are you going to use an office for? You're going to log into a game so you can sit down behind a desk and do paperwork?
I'm not, but I also didn't spend $12.50 on a legendary tavern. So
you can have meetings in there. You can
I mean, everybody should
private parties.
In my line of work, if it's really just about being happy, whatever you need to do to enjoy life. So go for it. But to me, that's just nuts, man. That's like Star Citizen craziness.
I mean, if I was going to start a monetized podcast in the game, sure, I'd buy up a thing for $12.50. That's just a business.
Well, that's actually interesting because I did not realize there was the game. Was it? I forget what you called it. The game set or whatever it was that have dice with it.
Yeah, there's the game set. So you can actually do D&D in the game.
Well, that's what I mean. How long until someone actually starts streaming D&D being played from within the game? That's kind of neat, actually. It's kind of interesting.
Nah, it'll be Teleston first.
It's an interesting thought. I didn't realize that was in there because that was just sort of like,
cool.
That's different.
And I'm sure what you'll be able to do in the game will continue, like more forms and variations of games that various entertainment. And then the idea, I could see it also being involved with like gambling. Getting using the gaming set for various gambling modalities that may be invented specifically for Elyria.
Yeah, I mean, it sort of becomes limitless in what you can think to do. I mean, that was kind of neat to me, actually. But, again, the idea to play a fantasy game, you log into a fantasy game. It's like...
And what would you do for performances? You'd have, like, arena battles that don't actually kill your character?
Anything from like
stage?
Actual stage performances, like singing and dancing and performing and stuff, to I could see debates. I could see it's
happen.
What, you don't think there's going to be political debates in the game?
I'm with
not on
stage.
Not on stage.
People are so invested in this game, which is great. I mean, that's not a knock on anybody. People are so invested. Somebody will do a debate somewhere.
I don't think they'll be doing them on stage, but
we have no idea.
Especially not on the legendary stage. But
if there's going to be any like entertainer minutia, kind of like how Star Wars Galaxies, you had to like watch entertainers to restore your stats to full. I have no idea if there's going to be some mechanic by which observing an entertainment event, observing a performance, will grant certain either bonuses or social opportunities or something else by kind of changing the situation in the area and allowing opportunities that players wouldn't normally have. If that's the case, I would see performances be a really huge part of the game.
Get into the game first. I mean, when is this supposed to release?
I don't know.
You already have examples. I mean, you have full plays being done within Final Fantasy. You have
Ultima Online.
Well, Lord of the Rings. I mean, they just had a big, a lot of the people I follow on Twitter are still heavily into that game. They just had like a big concert series, or it's maybe even this weekend. I don't remember when it was, but like a Saturday, Sunday of people playing music within the game. So, I mean, you already have examples of people using games as a stage for stuff like that. So people will use
asking if that's going to be supported in this game. That's all I'm saying. And when.
I would assume so. But there you go, right there in chat. So county founded on gambling. There you go. Somebody's already going to do it.
Nice.
It's interesting. I don't know.
I mean, I'm not surprised that people are going to be playing dice or try to play D&D or whatever. I'm just saying, I'm curious to see what's going to be supported for performances on a stage by the game mechanics.
Have you seen some of the stuff done in Final Fantasy? Have you seen any videos of that?
I'm aware that it happens. I'm asking how all of that's going to be put into this game and then released at some point. That's my question. again, it's one of those things of infinite content. Like, okay.
Well, why don't we find a developer to come on the show and talk about it?
We have developers that we can find. They just aren't allowed.
Yeah, it's a matter of getting the availability, because I would imagine right now, end of year, trying to crunch things out before holiday breaks or whatever. It's probably going to be sometime next year we'll be able to start getting people back on.
So,
and they're just going to say yes. Everything.
I suppose what's kind of interesting to me is the idea of using the functionality of OPC scripts, of being actually live while you deploy them. So what a performance is that you and your friends have actually loaded up scripts that when you all, you fire them off, it starts the performance, and it just goes through the scripted performance with maybe enough room and some stopping points here and there that allow you to, as the actor, kind of reposition or choose a different name for a random name that's used in the play or something like that. If you see someone in the audience that you use their name instead or something, something like that. I could see that being part of how it works, both for plays as well as musical performances, because if all of your musical performance is done on a script, you don't have to worry about timing whatsoever. It's all timed up. It's all on the server.
That'd be a crazy amount of scripting, wouldn't it?
No, it just depends on what tools and
like an hour-long play.
Well, it's okay. The difficulty of it, I don't think will be the issue. I think it's just the amount of effort it'll take to fill in an hour's worth of content. Or hell, even a 5-minute play would be a nice sort of thing, with all of the fanfare and pre-show introductions and all that other stuff. You could actually stretch it out to probably 15 to 30 minutes with just 5 minutes of actual content.
Yeah. I always forget that we're going to have scripting, so it just seems like it'd be a lot of work.
It would, but there's definitely opportunities that it opens up, and I think once people get more familiar and comfortable with it, and once there's been enough back and forth that they've improved the tools for the players to use to make better scripts, it'll be the sort of thing that we'll see a lot more regularly.
Yeah. All right, so we've already, I think you mentioned what's available till the end of the year?
So they're going to be cutting out some of the royalty packages. Let's see, was this? Oh yeah, it's the mayor, the magistrate, and the governor pledge packages will be removed from the store indefinitely, they say. So they can still potentially spin them up for various different things, or there's the potential that they won't ever do it again, and any mayor, magistrate, and governor positions will just be filled by NPCs in next position.
Did they say why that would be?
Why they stopped selling them?
Yeah, why you would prefer an NPC versus a real player, or have they? Or is that just something you thought?
Oh no, I'm pretty sure what that was going to be the thing is, if nobody had bought in, but they were still somehow going to release the game, that all of the positions of power that need to be filled would just be done by NPCs until a player comes along to get elected to the position or otherwise usurp the control.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So, you're not going to have an area that doesn't have a mayor or a magistrate or a governor, because it's, there's got to be something there. There's no, I use this to describe the modern world a lot of times. There's no place where you can just sit down and be like, yep, I have sovereignty over this land now. It's everything's already owned coming into it. So it's just, it'll automatically be divided into mayor, magistrate, governor, your counties, your duchies, everything. But I think a lot of it will be the minutia of what players don't actually put their hands on is what the NPCs are going to fill in.
Yeah, which isn't a preference. Kanitsu is saying they don't prefer NPCs to run the cities, but once domain selection hits, they don't want to sell the cities anymore.
Right, that makes sense. I mean, I think they're probably fine having an NPC run a city, but would prefer having players do it. If players can run everything, I'm sure they'd be much happier. But, it's going to take a lot of getting all of the players that play games to buy in after it releases.
Yeah.
I think about how much people have actually been waiting for a game where they can actually express any amount of influence on a persistent world. I'm sure there are people that have been playing WoW the entire time. It's like, oh, I'm so tough. I can just go into the, vanilla alliance stronghold or whatever and just kill everybody in there. I'm a level 90. They're only level 70s. Like, the idea that you don't have any agency in most MMOs, that was one of the things that kind of made me stop. So I'm thinking that the outreach, if the game does well, will get enough people to really fill in all of the administrative positions, big and small, high and low, across the entire game. Which is a lot, because the game's huge.
Yeah.
If it's fun, people will come.
Yeah, that's right.
Curious what kind of imbalance there will be if you have, two mayors next to each other. One's a human player, the other's an NPC. Like that, how that overall, how smart is that NPC going to be as far as when it comes to influencing the region? I don't know.
I have a feeling the human mayor. I think the human mayor would try to take over the NPC.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like how smart would that NPC be? And I get it. If they don't have the people, they have to do something. But I'm just curious how that will all work. But we need to get into the game first. Yeah,
well, it'll be fun to see. You're right, when we do actually get a chance to the pre-Elyria stuff. Had we talked about that on the last episode? I can't remember.
No,
I think we did. Didn't we?
I think we mentioned that it's a thing.
So yeah, it was that they had swapped out. They realized, well, doing things with voxels doesn't do us any good because all of the minutia of the modalities, like the crafting system with the blacksmithing, where you're actually shaping a fully modeled piece of metal, that's not going to translate well. Trying to do that in voxels and then bringing it over. So they realized, let's just put cell shading in. Let's just use our existing assets that we have, and we'll move forward with that. So what they're going to do, I'm pretty sure they're still going to do the pre-Elyria as like the online everybody plays together, but who knows?
Yeah.
I'm excited for that, actually being able to play in any version of the game. Plus, I like cell shading. Like, they could probably just release with that and I'd be happy.
It's not horrible.
No, it's not bad.
You'll play 8-bit. Come on.
It can get grimier than that.
I'm just saying, you literally will play anything. I won't. But I would do cell shader. That's low res enough.
We're just waiting to have some fun.
Well, I'm not expecting to have fun. You still have to convince me of that.
It's going to be serious business for you, huh?
I just don't think it's going to be a fun game. I'm still not convinced.
Well, we will be able to find something for you. It is a great day to be alive if you're an MMO fan, right?
Hopefully, if things release. Yeah. But
Is the MMO dead? No. You actually have probably a greater selection of new variety than you've ever had. Elyria being one, Ashes being another, Pantheon, Star Citizen. There's quite a bit of stuff that is out there.
No, there's quite a bit of stuff being developed.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Thing.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean I'll get to play or have fun playing them. Somebody's mentioning Atlas. What was the other one? New World, I guess.
Mm-hmm. can't really talk much about New World, so I'll let you talk about it.
Good one, Snipe. Is the MMO dead? No. Is the MMO shipped? Also no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it really is. I mean, it's really, you know, you see all of this stuff like Fortnite. There's a lot of there's a very good variety of MMO that hopefully they'll all, you know, eventually reach being shipped. But there's a lot of variety that we haven't really had. So while things close down, other things are still going, and even more are coming to be. So
yeah, I would even say, even though some of it is a little derivative, I would say that Gorgon is really kind of a unique entry of its own. That the whole getting experience for every single thing that you do and being able to live out your life and level up as an animal that you've been cursed into, that's great. Like that's a quirky, fun sort of thing for an MMO. And while it's not necessarily something any other MMO couldn't have done before, they didn't. So, you know, definitely one of the newer entries that I give my hat off to.
What was the one that people were playing 4 years ago where you get cursed into being a cow and you could level up
that was it,
cow?
Project Gorgon.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Tanlin, I remember getting to a high-level cow, if I'm not mistaken.
Are people still playing that?
I think so.
Okay. I haven't heard anything about it since.
Yeah, that's true. We got Dual Universe Alpha starting to come around. That's if you were into the space stuff and Landmark, all the amazing ships people were making, but you couldn't fly. Great, you can fly them now. I'm excited.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're going to release before Star Citizen will. So,
yeah.
I mean, they have an interesting, and I wish we would see more. And that's part of what I look forward to with Elyria is the idea of scripting things. You know, for folks who don't know much about Dual Universe, they use LUA scripting, and you can basically attach scripts to all kinds of components that you build your ships with. So there's a lot of possibilities there as well. So I think it just adds another layer of fun of trying to learn how to do things differently. So there is a lot of stuff out there.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of chatter about Atlas. I'm not real look forward to. I guess we're just making the rounds on games here. I'm not going to probably play Atlas. So
I'll probably check it out.
Yeah, a little bit too survival for me, I think, from what I've seen. But
I could see playing it with the folks I play things on Saturdays with. Get some group stuff going. It seems like the sort of game that you want to play with friends, that you don't just want to walk into solo.
I mean, maybe it turns out well. With it just first thing I thought of when I saw it the first time was Dark and Light, Conan. The idea of the survival, private servers. I don't know. Just ended up, in between our shows, I did some of those servers, and it was kind of a pain. And maybe it will be done much better obviously you have a good solid team behind it, but I don't know.
It looks like giant Arc with more players, so that's cool, or at least like from a technical standpoint. So that's at least kind of interesting how it actually plays out. We'll see. It could be that the actual gameplay modality itself, all the things you do and how you do them, is just so fun and satisfying and rewarding that it doesn't even matter if you don't make it that far.
I guess since we're doing a almost like end of year game rundown here out of nowhere, PlanetSide Arena was announced.
Right.
Yeah, so they've un-MMO'd it. They basically turned it into Unreal Tournament PlanetSide Edition.
Which is interesting.
But it's still on ForgeLight. It's their latest version of ForgeLight,
which really surprises
me. All right. Okay.
For the last year and a half, all of their positions, it's Unreal Engine 4, Unreal Engine 4, Unreal Engine 4. And here it is on ForgeLight. I mean, it's kind of interesting. I assume it probably, and this is not to say game development is easy, but I assume it probably was not so difficult to take what they had and sort of transform it into this style of of a game.
Oh, I'm sure it was super easy because they've used the latest and greatest of whatever they did with H1Z1 Just Survive and Z1BR before it broke off. And that was a much more advanced version of Forge Light than what PlanetSide 2 currently runs on. So,
I hope it does well. But, at this point, I don't think you're going to capture the Fortnite crowd, the traditional battleground sort of people. They seem to be all swept up, although Fortnite kind of made a big mistake with their, what was the name of the sword? I don't remember the name. Infinity something or other. That was sort of their big first slip up. But, so I don't think you're going to get that crowd. And I'm guessing a lot of the people who just are hardcore PlanetSide people probably enjoy the way PlanetSide is set up more than just going into a battleground. I don't know. I mean, I hope they do well, but I think the one thing, if they can do it well, that would probably draw people is the idea of these large 250 versus 250 battles. I mean, that could be kind of interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of like
Infinity
what
Sword.
people would want from the classic FPS style games. Like I think of, again, Unreal Tournament. Like, give me, I was fine with 16v16 with that, and small fun maps, vehicles, combined arms and stuff. And okay, sure, scale it up, put a PlanetSide skin on it. I'm fine. That sounds like fun to at least check out. The one thing that's a little weird to me is going to be how they do their monetization. It's going to be a client purchase. They're not free to play your way anymore. They're done with that. They're doing client purchases going forward, and it makes sense. I mean, they made $500,000 off of H1Z1 banned accounts in like the first 6 months. If you just look at raw face value numbers, so.
What do you mean by that? Say that again.
That the number of banned accounts after the release of H1Z1, a $20 product, that the number of banned accounts was in 6 months enough that they basically made like $500,000 or $1 million off of people that weren't even playing. Because you can't really refund if you play a game, you've been banned from it. In fact, I wonder if that actually hits their Steam account rating. Yeah. Oh well, they're probably cheating on a burner anyway. It's just kind of funny.
Well, we'll get to see. I mean, releasing on Steam, we will get to see their numbers. So, I mean, I wish them well. I don't want any development company to suffer. No, I mean, anybody who loves games should just love games, even if you don't like the individual game. But I don't know. You look confused, Diggs. My point being that you should want everyone to try to succeed within development because you don't know what will come later. I'm not going to play dual universe probably because it's not it's the wrong. I'm not a sci-fi person. I'm not going to play PlanetSide. Same reason. I still, you hope they do well.
Would you play Crowfall?
No.
Because that's the fantasy equivalent.
Yeah. I mean, I have. I mean, I've tested it from the very beginning, actually. It is not, my opinion, an MMO. So.
Fair enough.
But I think actually they're getting to where they're going to start their first big actual campaign trial soon within Crowfall. So, but I've not paid a whole lot of attention to them lately. But they're still going to. But I really don't. I think it's a stretch for anyone to call it an MMO. I think that's why they call it what do they call it? A throne simulator, throne something or other.
Throne War simulator.
Yeah, which is accurate. So.
Yeah. I mean, I was giving you that look because I'm more of a role player than a gamer. So I went MMORP, and there's a G there, but I don't really care so much about the G. So I want those to succeed, and I'll support certain styles of play for them, or designs for them. But I'm not a gamer, so I would say I want any or every game to succeed. I don't care about whether or not an FPS or a MOBA or those things succeed. Meh.
Okay.
But what are we looking forward to for Chronicles of Elyria? What's next on the radar that you guys are Other than pre-Elyria would be kind of on my radar.
That's the next gameplay entry that they've talked about. But just in general, they've got the official promotion and events calendar thing. Mm-hmm. So they're talking about some sort of the first of our 2 community engagement events each year. So January is going to have one community engagement event, and then I think they'll say probably later on where the second one is. Some sort of Valentine's Day like promotions in February, along with now it seems like that's mostly what it is.
Yeah. Domain selection is the next big thing that Knitsu is waiting for, which is kind of cool.
Yes, domain selection. Let's see. I mean, a lot of it's just like the holiday specific stuff, and then there's a couple of things here and there. May, the anniversary of the Kickstarter, they're going to do some special events.
So some event in January, okay.
In
June. That's good enough.
The Kingdom meetup thing is June, so it'll be interesting to see how that's done as an event. Or maybe that's going to roll into July, which they said is where they're going to do one of the next big community events.
Salazar Jack is saying county selection.
Oh yeah, county selection is going to be a big deal too. And I wonder, is that going to be done? Like, are all of the counts going to be vying for all of the counties, or are they going to be working with the kings and dukes and duchesses and stuff?
I think we will all try to get what we want. Ultimately, it will probably become, your superior's decision, what you do. Everybody, I mean, depending on what you want to do, obviously, if you want wooded area, if you want farm area, whatever you want. Again, for me, even being a count, I'm pretty passive, so I'll just take up whatever. I'm not going to fight with somebody. I'll learn how to farm on a desert floor if I have to. I'll farm cacti.
When is the start of Longest Night? Is that in June? I thought that was in December.
Yeah, that's what he was saying.
Oh.
It's right now.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, in the lore right now. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where we're at.
As Snipe mentioned, that's going to be the next sort of interesting point. Is going to be domain settlement selection. Is just who actually is going to get along with who. That's what I can't wait to see. It'll be interesting.
And we'll find out who's actually working with who.
Yeah. I'm all about the stories and the player drama, Why not? I still have this idea of being more mischievous than I normally am within this whole process. But we'll see.
Well, especially if you can see data.
Yeah, well, I don't even care about that. I mean, I'm
just saying, if you can tell who's who and who's doing what.
I think I'll role play Loki. I'll channel that character. It's actually not a bad idea. Until I get kicked out of the kingdom.
Or take it over.
I don't want to take over a kingdom. I don't have time for that.
That'll be your exit. It's like, oh, right before you put this crown on my head, I'm out. Peace.
The last month, I haven't had time to read the damn website. I can't be a king.
Yeah. Fair enough.
People are going to come with problems and I'll say, I don't care. I don't care. Let's go do something.
That's what puppets are for. All you have to do is go in every month or so and disrupt the status quo. Put another puppet.
I'm role play Loki. I'll just be the mischievous god and
Clark King.
Yes, Clark King,
that.
indeed. The Sunday D&D that Diggs and I are playing.
Anyone?
We made a bugbear king.
And if anyone from the kingdom to which I have pled watches this show, I'm just kidding.
Nope, it's on tape now.
Maybe. You don't know. Well, we started a little late, but I think we'll probably try to end on time. So I don't know if there's anything else to talk about now. Anything you guys think about?
Nothing in particular. That's
so.
Majority of it.
In 2 weeks, I'm hoping there will be another newsletter, so maybe we'll have some news then.
Yeah, should be. I think the last one was November, so.
Yeah, end of November, so.
And yeah, we did. Apologies, we missed. Gosh, 3 shows. I'm not sure. It's been over a month. Part of that's just been work schedules, particularly mine, and since I'm the one that has all of the tech
Hosting.
stuff, we've just not been able to go. So that should change. So anyways, we'll see you back in 2 weeks. If anybody, as always, has anything they'd like to see us talk about, just drop us a line, let us know.
Or even come on the show.
Yeah. We've mentioned that too. Sog has been pretty busy as well, so we're not really sure when he'll be back with us. So we always have an extra spot for anybody that wants to come on and just sort of chat. So with that, everyone have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you in 2 weeks. If you are interested in Ashes, we'll be back next week with that show. So see ya.
Yeah, see you then, folks.